All right. So, like as I said before, you're welcome to the Researchers Fireside chat. This is being organized by the Research Consultancy Force. So today we are looking at, so you want to be a grant and scholarship winner. And like already advertised, this is what it will be about. Um, All right. So we usually carry out a lot of trainings like shown on the screen. We've had series of trainings, some on SPSS free training, some work on getting published in a high impact journal in 3 months, where we work with people collectively to get them to publish in great journals. We've also held month in, month out, some great SPSS masterclass training on SPSS. We've had others on research methods, which explores things like sampling methods, and we've had just about a month ago the art and science of qualitative research. And yes, today we are ramping up speed as we go into the researchers fireside chat. So just like we always do, we just want to share some words of motivation to each one of us and some great words for us to take into cognizance. It says, what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Actually, you realize as a researcher, you become by doing and not just by thinking or saying. Okay. Um, the next one says it always seems impossible until it's done. So for instance, here we are talking about grant writing and winning capacity training grants. It may look daunting, like almost near impossible, but I can tell you when you get it done, you'll be like, what has really happened? Again, according to Winston Churchill, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And you'll find out today that that is one hallmark of a lot of people that have won, whether it is a capacity training grant or small grants or other types of grants, is the consistency despite great rejections that made them. And then investing yourself, it pays the best interest on the long run. And then knowledge is power and information is liberating. And the secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. So, um, okay. Um, your life does not get better by chance, it gets better by change. All right. So, just for me to quickly introduce the two great panelists we have on board today. The first person, his name is Dr. Kalu Du. He's a Nigerian trained medical doctor and an academic clinical fellow in public health at the University of Liverpool. He holds an MBBS from Ebonyi State University and an MPH from the University of Liverpool. He's a successful winner of some capacity training grants, apart from other grants. And Dr. Du cherishes family life with his loving wife and children, and also mentors through the Suits Academy, an educational platform he co-chairs with his wife. Through the videos and podcasts and webinars and master classes he runs, he empowers the next generation of leaders. And then Justin Wolfe is the second panelist, and he's a dedicated public health specialist with a decade of progressive experience in public health intervention and implementation science research in Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa, largely focusing on HIV, TB, and things around antimicrobial resistance. Um, he currently leads the laboratory surveillance and global health security advanced HIV disease and HIV integration into NCDs, and antimicrobial resistance and emerging pathogen at APIM Public Health Initiative, which is a leading NGO in Nigeria. He holds an MSc in clinical epidemiology and infectious disease from Nigeria and an MSc in public health from the University of South Wales. He's currently the principal investigator in 3 grants in Nigeria, and is also a winner of several capacity training grants. I just want us all to make welcome our co-panelists and the panelists to this session. I want to tell you, you are you are very welcome. Thank you. So, I'll stop sharing my slide at this point and get them to talk. Okay. So, let me start like this. Let me start with Justin. Justin, I don't know if you're here, if you could say hello to everyone.
Yes, hello everyone.
All right.
Yes, my name is Justin. Glad to be
Okay,
here.
beautiful. Okay, I can see you. And then Carlo Udu, if you could say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Okay. So in no bit order, let me ask Justin, um, what has been the single thing that motivated you to get involved in grant writing, whether for a research grant or capacity training grant, if you could share with us your experience.
Okay, so thank you so much, sir, and everyone. Well, I will say through the course of my work, I had I was privileged to be involved in yearly we implement PEFA program. And then in PEFA program, every year we write what is called continuous application. So what it means is that continuous application has 2 formats. It's a way of reporting to CDC and ORGAG what you have done in the past 1 year, and as well you are responding to a grant like that. This is what we are going to do based on what we've done. So over time, I've been involved in writing this, and at the point I said, okay, if I do this, why can't I do this on my own to advance my own personal, professional career? There is this always imposter syndrome. You can't do this, you can't do this. So with this experience, I was okay. This is doable. It's this same principle. It's just different audience. So what I just need is to master what do this audience wants. What is I go through their guideline, and then I said, okay, let me put myself forth, and then that is how I break into that limitation of you can't do it, or maybe feeling that you may not be able to do it, or you will not be successful. And then I applied for the first grant I applied was RSTM, Royal Society for Tropical Medicine and Hygiene. I it's a, the preparation for the grant was I faced challenges because I made the first draft. I sent to 3 persons to review. None of them gave me feedback. I kept sending them messages, reminder, please. None of them responded. I said, okay. I got one, the 2023 RSTM awardee, and asked, okay, please, can you look into this and see if what and review this my protocol for me? She went through it and said, it's a great protocol. And I don't always like that word. It's just great because I had this fear. Okay, it's great protocol. Nothing to say. Okay, correct here. She just responded after a few days, it's a great protocol. I was like, okay. I now told myself, okay, let me put on a reviewer's eye and read it myself again. And then I read it and made a second correction. And I said, okay, now let me send, I sent to my boss in the office. He may not know the technicality, at least he should, but he will understand the flow. And then whether the tenses were correct. He now read it and said, okay, I made corrections on some tenses and said, okay, the flow is okay. I said, okay, and that's how I submitted. And the grant came back successful. So I don't know whether I should stop here or when I will be talking again, I will now explain the lessons I learned from just that incident alone, and that how that has already prepared me into second and third. So let me
Okay.
just stop from here, brother.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me ask Dr. Princeville to also share his experience, and then we go back to you to share from your previous experiences what the lessons you have taken from it. Over, Principal.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope I can be heard. I can hear some background echo. Don't know whether it's from my end or something else, but if the technicals can fix that. Okay, so a little about myself. I am an academic clinical fellow in public health. So it means that I combine specialty training in public health and research training in public health as well. So, um, in terms of my appetite for grants and also for scholarship, I think that I found out early enough, just post medical school, that I was interested in research and public health research. So I sort of thought about how I was going to do that. And I found that it was important to understand things around statistics, data analysis, and how to handle data. So that propelled me to do some courses back then in 2015, just when I was doing my housemanship on SPSS. So a consultant in community medicine back then taught us SPSS, which I progressed further on to learn more things, as well as began to train others. So I sort of opened up a research outfit where I tutored others on XPSS and things around basic research. So, and my desire was whatever I knew, I was to pass across to other people who were peers or people who were coming after me. So, the next thing I saw, my mentors, they were progressing in terms of masters, scholarship. So I said, well, if the people I look up to can go in and do masters on the scholarship, so I said, well, let me give it a try. Uh, Honestly, the first time I tried, I didn't get it because I haven't built on the relevant experience. So I had to do it twice. I applied for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship in 2017. Yeah, I did that in 2017 to gain a competitive scholarship to do a master's in public health at the University of Liverpool. It was over how many thousand pounds? Over 40,000 pounds per se, because they will have to foot your tuition fee and take care of everything far from from the beginning of your training to the end, including your visa, your ticket, everything. So I just bundled myself to the United Kingdom to do the masters, and at the end returned back. So, but on return, I started understanding a few things between research and field work. So I did a bit of a field work in Nigeria when I returned from the United Kingdom, but I still found myself being interested in research. So that propelled me to go back to begin to the drawing board, see how am I going to get myself into the space of being a clinical researcher. So I found that with registering with the General Medical Council UK and also doing a bit of other things, publishing, that I could land a fellowship that would get me into the clinical academic space. So sometime last year, I applied for a competitive fellowship. It's quite competitive. I think it's even more than the Commonwealth one because a lot of people are interested in that. So it gives you basically the opportunity to train as a resident as well as a researcher. And God being so kind, I was able to learn that. And here I am now as an academic fellow um, with the embedded with the Health Inequalities Policy Research Group at the University of Liverpool. And we're doing a number of things together, applying for grants and publishing papers as well as being a registrar in public health within Northwest School of Public Health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, okay, so now what I want you to do is to thank you each one for having introduced yourself and giving us the opening salvo. Now, what we want from each one of you is looking back, what are the lessons you've learned? And then I would add on to those voice after now. So let's start again with Justin. So Justin, can you share with us both from the first one that you were successful in applying, as well as other successive one? What are the lessons you've learned that early career researchers or people that are not yet experienced with such application can learn in terms of maybe applying for successful research or capacity training grant? Over to you, sir. Justin, you have the floor.
You're on
You need to
mute.
unmute. You need to unmute yourself. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I will say that first of all, the first lesson I learned is that in the first grant is funders don't necessarily fund a perfect let me is it perfect protocol I would say, or perfect scientific research. I think what they think about it is and that is one of the secret that most people don't know. We just want to make our work, we want to show that it's perfect, we want to tell the whole world how good that is, and I quite understand, and that is good because this is we want to express our passion and something we have probably worked on for decades of hormones, to tell the world how we are passionate about it is quite good. But I think one thing they look at is how does what you are saying align to their priorities?
Okay, Justin. Hello.
Yes.
Please, I think you need to speak louder or increase your volume. I think some people are saying that your volume is a little bit low.
Okay. So
Yes, better.
okay. So what I was saying is that I think funders is more of they are looking at how aligned are you to their missions and priorities rather than a perfect research statement. They are looking at how what you plan to do align with their priorities. What is their goal, their vision for impact, their strategic objectives, their theory of change, and the problem the founders have committed themselves in solving, and how they meet with the community. So these are the things they look at, not necessarily scientific protocol. Yes, that may be good, but you may have that perfect statement or perfect protocol you have designed. However, a funder will look at it and then say this does not align with our priority. So number one lesson to funders is that it must align with their priorities. It must align with their goals. It must align with their theory of change. It must align with what they are doing in the community. What is the impact of the work you want to do? How can you, is that measurable? Is it something that they can see, and when they're reading through, they can see themselves in that work or what they do in that work? That is number one. I think number two is that you need to be as transparent as anything. You have to be transparent. They have to see the connection between your story and if possible, if they want to make any background check on you, every dot must connect to where you've started, and then so you must yeah, is like a storytelling. It's selling your brand, so you must, that connection must be there. That dot must connect from one point to another, and that dot, that transparency cut across from understanding the problem to even your budget, because even the budget must be as transparent. It must connect to what you were saying. If not, there is a way they generally view, especially people from our part of the world. So they want to see all those things align. And then lastly, I would say you have to be able to convince the it's not just about the impact. So of that work, they should be able to see it. So if they see that not just our how will I put it, for example, we want to use maybe a disciplinary approach to solve problem. No, no, no. They want to see what is they implement this, will be able to reduce, let me say, neonatal sepsis by 25%. They want to see that. They want to see the impact of what you plan to do. So, let me say 3 lessons I learned from that. And then to say, after your first grant, you have already have a starting, you've already built a system. So the other one is just to augment what you have done. And it's always good when you've won your first grant to remain. Another thing I need to say is being consistent in what you want to solve. For instance, researchers want to see how you, for like if I'm in HIV program, or I'm addressing AMR, they want to see that I'm consistent on that AMR. I'm doing this and doing this and doing this. It is more easier to say, okay, um, this is what I have done, and then this is, I got a grant from RCM, for instance, to solve this problem, and then in your second grant, you are now saying that we have solved this problem, but this is a gap remaining, and this is what this grant will do for us. So it becomes easier for you to take on one. Who also have, I won the RSTM, on which I'm working on AMR, and then the International Federation for Clinical Chemistry and Laboratory Medicine, IFCS, was also on AMR. So I'm building up on the first one. However, the third one, which is the D43 Forgatry grant, is a different one because it is HIV. It's a Emory Nigeria HIV program. It's a HIV training program. So that one was a new one. So I have to start the new skeleton and build it up afresh, because it is a new, for Forgatry is only on HIV. So you can't write on any other thing. and not just a HIV, it is something that relates to PMTCT women that are affected with HIV. So it have to be tailored to that. So every grant has its own structure and has its own priority and guideline. However, if you are building on what you have done previously, it is easier than starting new thing altogether. So, but this one is just that I've had some experience in HIV as well. So, just to tell the story about how women are disproportionately affected with HIV and what I want to. So, but the lesson from the previous two is something that I can also apply on this, and that's how I was able to win the third one. Thank you, and
Okay, thank you very much. So one thing I from the things you said, which is consistent with what other researchers that have won small grants and other capacity training grants have experienced, is the place of consistency, especially a consistent flow in a track that you are growing in. Like you mentioned, your interest on AMR, that's antimicrobial resistance in the first grant, and then the second grant is building up on it. Again, interestingly, you tell a very powerful story around the element of shaping your fund to follow the interest of the funder. So I think it's one practical lesson a lot of early career researchers need to learn, which is that it is not just about you, but about your funder. So if your funder, for instance, is interested in climate change, while your background is in HIV/AIDS, you are more likely to win a grant if your work now shows how HIV/AIDS is connected with the climate change. But once it's not connected with what is their primary interest, you may find it more difficult to win the grant. And so that is why one of the the great thing you need to first of all do is to find out what the interests of your funders look like and making sure that your protocol or your pitch aligns with theirs. Thank you very much, Justin, for that great work. So now I would move over to Prince Will and ask him to share for us the lessons so far he has learned from the numerous successful and unsuccessful application he has had. Prince Will, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. I think Justin has said the hard parts. So let me just talk about the soft ones, because what he has said applies to applications as well, whether it's fellowship or scholarship, whatever it is. It applies to that consistency and understanding what the scholarship or fellowship is all about. So just looking back, I think that mentorship is very important in whatever application you're making, be it grants or scholarship or fellowship. The recall I said in my introductory speech that the first application I made, I didn't succeed. And I think it was particularly because I was not properly guided. Of course, I knew that there were some people I looked up to, mentors that have gone ahead, but there wasn't really this hand holding to tell me this is how to do it. This is what you're supposed to do. These are the things you need to build ahead of time in preparation for that. So I just entered into it because I thought that it's something you could just do like that. And it was after it didn't work out that I came back to reflect, where did I get it wrong? And someone sat me down to say, okay, so these are the things you need to know. This is how to write it. This is how to really put in yourself, your best foot. And it worked. So the second lesson there, which is also soft lesson, is that I will borrow the one of the quotes that Dr. Gunnar mentioned at the beginning. Sometimes the outcome is important, but the process is also very important. So if you haven't done any of those applications, you will not understand and learn the process. You become better because for every application, one that you win or you get, there may be several of them that you did not get. But those ones that you were unsuccessful in terms of the outcome, you would have learned something in the process. One thing you may have learned will be something not to do or something to do. And you find out that you become better in writing, you become better in communicating your skills, your experience, or even in understanding what is there. So, just to say to colleagues here that if you have done like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you did not win anything, don't be discouraged. Because I do remember that in that scholarship and even in the fellowship I'm currently on, I did over 14, applied to so many universities while I was applying for scholarship. And I just needed one yes, and that one finally came. So people are not very eager, keen to discuss the things they have failed on. But you remember when people shared one of their success story, there are 20 of them that they haven't shared that they failed. And so the last thing I want to talk about is the power of recommendation. When you begin to form your network, sometimes you can get to the point that the people who would nominate you are your friends or within the network of the people you work with. So it's easier actually. Um, in the space where I am at the moment, I see that a lot. That um, grants are won by particular people because they know what is in it. They know who it's asking for the grant. And in some cases, you find
True,
that they have
true.
actually written the proposal for the grants because they have in mind what they want to put in for in that. So these are the three things, soft things I want to talk about. So the first thing is mentoring. The second one is the process is very important. And the third one is manage your network very well. Because I feel that one of the bane of our people is that we don't have that network. And we see colleagues in the UK or other places in their medical school, in their undergrad, their supervisors are already linking them up. I don't know how they do it. They're already having papers. They're already doing things. They are going for conferences and presenting. They have those supports. So if you don't have them, if those are the required criteria, I can't hear myself.
Yeah,
So
it
Okay,
seems
so
somebody has a second device on. You may need to mute the second device. Thank you.
okay, so if you have not prepared yourself or nobody has handheld you to give you that support, to give you that network, it's more difficult, particularly if you begin to compete internationally. If it's not a local grant or a local fellowship where everyone is equal. But if you now begin to compete with people from different parts of the world, you find out that we are a bit far behind, not necessarily because we don't have the talent, but because we don't have the opportunity. So what I tell colleagues and peers is if the system has not given you that opportunity, begin to create that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I cherish this platform, the Research Plus, because in this place you can find out that there are many people that can take you within this group that can take you to the next level, whichever level you are. If you're early career, there are people who are mid-career level who can support. If you are mid-career, there are people who are in advanced level. So let's not waste the opportunity as it is presenting. Let's grab it with the whole of our hands. And things can become easier for us. It doesn't take so much of that effort if you combine that mentorship and the networking I've just talked about, in addition to what Justin had already said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent, excellent. I like what you said. So let me share this with everyone. So a renowned professor, out of curiosity from all his mentees and people that were applauding him because the searchlight and the spotlight was on him, he decided to print his curriculum vitae and make it public. But guess what? He decided to print all the curriculum vitae of all his rejections and failures. And oh my God, it was actually lengthier than his normal CV that everybody has. And that is the tale of everyone you meet. Even, let me embarrass you, even if you were to ask about Einstein, if he tells you the number of failures he had before the major breakthrough, you will be amazed. So, and that is one story that recurs across many generations of great researchers. That is, in applying, they've applied severally, but it's just a few, and it's the few that you know about, okay? The ones they don't publish is all the failure rate. Just like publishing, if people are to tell you how many that have been rejected as against those that have been accepted, you'll be amazed. So, but there are some cardinal points that Dr. Princeway has brought up to the table, things around mentorship and network. And I would want us to take a further deep dive into that. But as we do that, I want to ask you if you have any questions that you want the members of the panel to answer. Can you put it up in the chat box? And we would try to ask some of them so that they can be more direct also in answering some concerns that you have. So, Dr. Princeway, I want to ask you, how does one identify a mentor and how do you become a good mentee? Because, you know, one thing people forget at times is that some of the reasons why we don't get the best mentors is maybe we may not have the best attitude as mentees. So can you just give us an idea of how to get some great mentors? And then I would also ask Justin to also share from his own experience. Okay, over.
Okay, thank you very much. I would respond citing biblical example. I think it's in Proverb that says that if you want to become a friend, if you want to have a friend, you should be friendly. So, paraphrasing that, if you want to become a mentee, you have to be a good one to have a mentor. Sharing from my experience in the scholarship thing, I looked up to one of my mentors. Maybe I don't need to call his name, but he was doing exactly the master's program I was interested in doing. I was not I was not close to him at the point. So I reached out to him. He was very far ahead in medical school. I think I was in second year when he graduated. So that relationship was not there. So when I reached out to him, I'm interested in this scholarship, and you are in the space, so I need some help. So what he did was that he just sent off the link to me, and that was it. So I was heartbroken. I was like, he didn't even talk to me. He just sent me the. So I was like, no, 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 no. This is not what I wanted. So I was infuriated, really, and I didn't get back to him. It was later on I found out that when I was now in the program, I found out how pressure pressure the program is, that it's possible that someone can send you a text and you even forget that you received the text. But the lesson from there is that your mentor is not there to pamper you, really. I mean, you need to show some effort and do some work um, before you get to your mentor. So the other thing that happened again was the second time I think it was the second time I was now writing this thing, or was it the first time? When he had more time to now look at what I was writing. The first time I wrote, and he critically reviewed the thing, my essay, I felt ashamed of myself. I lost my self-esteem, everything, because it was like he just thought it vam vam vam. That's the way I would say it. But I think he was helping me, and he was very brutal. So, but I don't know whether I was looking for somebody who was going to be massaging my ego or pampering me, which um he didn't have that time. And I think it was good that he didn't have that time. Over time, we've grown to become very close as friends, and but I still maintain that space as a mentor to me because I don't want to begin to blur the line because I know what it is. So the point I'm trying to make is that if you want to have a mentor is not your peer or peer. A mentor is someone who has gone through there and is showing you the path. Sometimes might tell you what to do, might also become a coach at the same time, like trying to open you up to what is in you that you didn't know, and allowing you to take possession of your goals, your dreams, and things like that. So for us, if you're not ready to be criticized or critiqued, you're not ready for mentorship. You're not ready at all. So I've moved on to also having other mentors. And what I do is it can be a very close mentorship or remote mentorship. So if I research and see that this is the next phase I'm going into, I would like to look at first, I'll look at are they, I'm a Christian, so I'll have to look at are they Christians who are in that space? Are are they people who have gone ahead and done something quality in that space? I would gently introduce myself to them. This is what I'm doing. I would like to learn from you. Also, if you really want to fast track your mentorship, find out what their problem is, solve it. Like if
Pair
somebody
of
is,
hands. It's
yes,
called become a pair of hands.
okay. Thank you for putting it better for me. So find out what is their problem. If you know that they are actively researching, you can ask them, can I do a literature review for you? You're looking for mentorship. You're just they can, even if it's hard for you, you are lifting up some things from their shoulder. If you do it and do it well, they will bring you to do something else. So it's very important that mentorship is not feeding you. And if you're not ready to dirty your hands, if you're not ready to be critiqued, then you're not ready for mentorship. Therefore, you have to prepare. And sometimes people casually stroll into your DM and they're asking you for your time. Time is very precious. They haven't done anything. They have not read. For instance, if it's a scholarship they're interested, you have posted maybe a scholarship link to them. They have not read it. The next thing they'll come and ask you is it online? Where is it? And you're asking yourself, can't you see what is on there? And haven't you just done your due diligence? You want me to do everything for you. So, and when you don't answer them, they feel infuriated, they feel insulted. So do your work and you make your mentors work easier. If not, you feel that nobody is ready to mentor you because your mentors are very busy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very excellent from your side. At times the assumption is probably when you become the mentor too, you start realizing why your mentor used to respond the way they did when you were seeking their help. The truth is that if you have a very good mentor, high chances are that they are extremely very busy. So even if it is 1 minute they are giving you, is like a slice of their time that they may not even readily have. So it behoves on us, just like you said, for us to seek out mentors. And one very interesting thing that I've heard from one of my bosses and mentors is that you must make yourself like a pair of hands. I believe that describes again what you were trying to talk about, in the sense that shoulder whatever, be like, I want to offer my services and help. And actually, most times in doing it, you'll be shocked at how far advanced you will get just by ordinarily providing help to them in whatever area you can and at the level you can provide it. Thank you very much for that. I would go to Justin to give us his own feedback, and then I would read out some of the questions we have from the participants. So, Justin, over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, I think he did justice to the mentorship. The challenge we have, especially my generation, is that we just want maybe already cooked food. People we have. Um, okay, so let me even share my own experience. And I had a mentor. I know he is quite busy, so maybe if I need something, I'll just come and ask. In short, I started with, "Hello, sir. How are you doing, sir?" So I will now wait for him to come and respond to that one before I will now ask the next one. So over time, I notice he doesn't respond to both that "how are you" greeting or nothing. So that discussion may not happen. And I noticed that, and I started getting response. So I would just say, I'm doing so A, B, and C. I've done A, B, and C, but I think I can't understand this and how this linked. He will respond straight away. So I started gaining the gain of mentorship. So the lesson there is that nobody is there is nobody that everybody is busy, so nobody is waiting for you to come and just sit down and wait for, hey, I'm waiting for my mentee to have problems so that I address it. No, it doesn't happen. So if you need a mentor, is a serious work from your own angle as a mentee. In short, it's you that is the mentee drives how that mentorship or that relationship will go. So if you need something, for instance, if you want your mentor to provide, you just roll it and say, "Sir, this is this. I've made a draft." It becomes, yeah. If you research that we are talking about, or in imagine if I'm asking my mentor about a grant. It's not his duty to go and provide me details, or that's where the funder has a website. You go there, get the whole detail, write whatever you want to do, and then you say, "Sir, I'm applying for this and this and this. I don't know if you have time to to review this." My mentor will just ask you, "When is the deadline for my review?" And then you now follow up. So, but most time people like Dr. Prince will said, sometimes you just come, somebody will just meet you um, on LinkedIn or somewhere and say, "I want you to be my mentor." I will read it and laugh. I will respond. Or somebody will just say, can I forward to him what I did my time so that he will use?" That's not how it works. So is mentorship, mentee mentorship relationship is a work, and then if you want it to work, you must put on the work. So it's not for lazy people, and it's not for lazy people, and your mentor only owes you. Yeah, to relationship can only happen you as a mentee not showing full interest, read that relationship or that expertise of that your mentor for you to gain or whatever you want. Secondly, mentorship, you may not have everything you need from one person, so it depends on what you want. So you may have more than one or two of the mentor, but there are criteria for selecting mentors. You don't just run into someone. Like Dr. Prince who said, he used to check if he's a Christian. If you're a Christian, you may need to. There are some people that you may need to be sure that your spirit and their spirit also align first, and then other things align. So these are the things I want to say. So make the work easier for your mentor, and then you enjoy it. Thank you, and over.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to point out something to everyone here. For instance, when they talk about this getting a mentor, I remember there was a grant I wanted to apply for. And while going through past winners or people associated with that grant, that capacity training grant, I saw a name. And I think the person lived, was it 200 to 300 kilometers from where I lived? I've never had any contact with him. There was no other opportunity. I just want you to imagine what I did. Well, I woke up one morning, took a vehicle, and traveled that 300 kilometers to the town and went searching for the person. When I met the person, I said, "Sir, I want to apply for this grant, and I saw that you are the person that has gotten this grant. How can I go about it?" The guy was baffled. Like, just think about it. Someone travels 300 kilometers to see you because of that. So what I'm just trying to say is that at times you must also be ready to sacrifice. So for instance, and it doesn't mean that you have to travel that 300 kilometers. It could be that there is a conference that is coming near you, and the person that you think is even maybe the assessor or somebody will be in that conference. You could attend that conference just because of that purpose. Or there is a community volunteer service. I've done that before. One of my mentors, he volunteers for a community service. I hitched my bag and went for the community volunteer service, both from my heart to volunteer, but also secondly, to have a close proximity or opportunity of getting to talk with him. And truly, let me also share this. Your mentors, mentees, people that would support you a lot are always busy. But one space where you can always find them is one, conferences or any great event that is like a space that they are isolated from office work and all of that. You find out that at that particular period, they are more open, or let's say a social event that gathers everybody together. That's also a great period to really get to have the discourse with them. So now I want to ask Justin. Yes, I know you are great in networking. That I already know. But that's one of the points Dr. Prince we raised. So I want to ask you, how do you build and sustain your network to enable you to reach the next phase of your career growth in terms of making great application and being recommended for greater application? There was something that Dr. Prince Will mentioned, which is one thing we see. I've once asked one very prolific grant winner who was based in a high institution in a high income country, how do you even select people you work with in terms of people that, like when you were talking of mentees and all, it says people that I flow with. So it's not really just about capacity, it's about network. And that's the honest truth. The capacity is important, but your network can determine the difference between two great individuals. In fact, recent studies show that the winners of Nobel laurels, they tend to aggregate around particular institutions. As in, like a department can produce 10 of them, like consistently. It's not that they have the best brains, it's just that there's something, there's a culture, there's a networking that just goes on that helps them to develop the best. So, Dr. Justin, please, if you can share with us how to build your network, how to build and sustain your network for great career progression. Over, sir.
Okay. There's me, what I have done over is price both are all part of there together. So what I do is, first of all, the the current time we are living is where is no longer when people build on silos. So you have to tell the world what you are doing now. So like there is a adage that I think it started mostly last year, especially for public health. They say public health specialists must communicate to the public. Also, over time, especially just in so most public don't understand what researchers do, and it's just to understand the time, on having the understanding of the time. For instance, now the generation we have in now, especially the Gen Z, we will never read any article. They don't have the time. So if you are able to change the article into a short 3 minutes video or a click or a skit or something like that, they will be able to read it more. So any information that is not or in a line message, you have lost them. You have lost them. So now for you to gain visibility to, and then like using the what that has done for me is that it's now attracting people within the cycle of what I want to me. Like like I said, there I have my mentor. Sometimes LinkedIn flags the people doing the same type of work with those my mentors, and then I will follow them. And then I have my peers that are doing the same thing I'm doing that I follow. So he flag those people and bring them to. I follow them. Though it's not, if they are the ones I like, DM. Some of them it's just a brief one, like we have been saying here. People like to start hearing stories about your village. 2, 3 it's just like um I can do, and in case or any partnership or then you leave that message. Some of them say okay, noted, keep in touch, or some of them revert back to you. There are some like the grant. There is a grant I got notification 2 days ago. I applied. They said uh, they are pleased to inform me that my grant is successful. Policy it goes to individual no third party review first after the whole people have marked. So it's after that that they, but they've sent that mail. I said okay, In my mind, we would have waited for that review so that if after that review is not successful, we would not put my hand. So, but that is that by the way. So, what I'm trying to say, that grant was actually someone from league that shared it. I say, I think you can, from what you do, you can. This is what you can do, and it's also related to AMR, and it's from International Society for Antimicrobial Chemotherapy and something that have that grant, and the grant must be implemented in LMIC. So I just told them, just short story. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm building on, and this is what this one will do. It was a straightforward grant. It wasn't so, but it was from there, from my network, that I got that. So I look at peer, I look at collaborators, I look at mentors, and then in building my network. So I follow them. For every person, out for most of the people I in my network, I can say I know why I requested them. Some may be because they're my peer. Some are majorly because there is something I want to follow them that I may gain, may not be probably now. So, like in summary, I don't really have a formula. I only go for people that have interests that are doing what I am interested in, and then people that I can maybe to, and then people that were doing collaborate as peers. So these are the criteria I map out, and then I go for them, and then I maintain my visibility in those social like LinkedIn. You have to continuously remind people what you do, so that whenever things within what you do comes up, they know who to contact and say, okay, this person can do this, can we try him? And it has worked. There are other short like I have won 2 placement grant where I stayed one month in some people's research. It was from LinkedIn. I have won travel grant. Some it was through network that I learned about it, and I applied for the travel grant, got the travel grant, and went to to present my papers. So these are the things, and then the things that I do in my network. Thank
Okay.
you, sir, and over.
Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Prince, will just some few words to that so that I can share some of the questions that have come on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Justin has still talked about the hard parts, so let me go to the soft parts and discuss about networking. I think it's about understanding human relationship, whether it's science or arts, understanding human relationship, and to understand that humans are inherently selfish. So if you understand that and you're able to feed into that what is in it for them, you are more likely to build a network that is rich and robust. Citing from the scriptures as well, there was this man who was going to be sanctioned by his boss, and he went off to begin to settle people. Anybody who was owing the master, he would say, I grant you relief for half of it or something. And that singular act endeared him to a lot of people. So peradventure, if his master relieved him of his duties, he had people to fall back to. So sometimes we find out that we are alone or lonely because we focus on ourselves more than we think about the others. So the pair of hand issue has come up again. So if you want to build your network, if you find out those who are in that category, the cohort you want to be in, just understand what their problems are and try to solve those problems. You are more likely to have them around. But if in the first instance, what you always want is people's what is in it for you, people may not endear themselves to you. So um, Justin has talked about leveraging on social media and other platforms to build your network. Yeah, so but you can still find out that in that space, some of those relationships are artificial. Only a few of them will forge into great relationship, and they are those that you have actively pursued. So whether it's in research or whether it's a family relationship, whether it's platonic, whatever it is, the principle is the same. So you find out that in big time laboratories, it might be those who you think are not even as skilled or as what would I put it, are technically sound as others. You'll be seeing them going for conferences. You see them being sent off for errands that would put them on platforms that others who are working harder have not been able to do. So if you go back and ask those people, you find out that there is a need they are solving in that community that is not really particularly about that profession or that profession that they are interested in. So that's my own addition to that. If you combine the hard part that Justin has talked about with this soft part, of understanding human nature to be satisfied, to our nature being inherently selfish and greedy. I mean, try to satisfy that. People don't show it really because it looks a bit uncivilized to begin to say I am greedy for the, but we all know if you assess it, people want something for themselves first. So if you move to the level that you are thinking beyond yourself and placing others first, it doesn't mean that you should not take care of yourself or your mental health, but it just means that how can I get this person closer, solve the person's problem, make the person comfortable, and you will see yourself having a rich network. Even those who are smarter than you in terms of academic or science may not get to where you are because
Yeah.
you understand how to manage relationships and human nature. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well said. Well said, sir. So I'm going to ask the questions from the participants or the audience. So somebody says, thank you so much for this opportunity. My question is it only in public health? All these discussions around grants and capacity training opportunities, is it only for public health? I mean, because it seems like the book panelists are more into public health. It's just out of curiosity. So please, over to you, sir.
I think that someone has responded to it
Okay.
on the chat that it's not just this is life principle, and then it's I alluded to it in my previous discussion. Wherever you are, if you master how to, in fact, the act of human relationship, you go further in life than somebody who is technically sound but does not have enough knowledge on how to work on their relationships, because everything rises or falls on relationship. It's when I have started dealing with or working with a number of persons that in one of the courses that we did in my MPH, I was actually made to understand that research itself, I know I'm on record, but research itself is not value free. I mean, whoever is funding you for any research has an interest.
Yes.
So no matter what methodology you are going to use, if that methodology is not arriving at what the researcher or what the funders in line with their interest, you're less likely to be selected or be published. So it's there. So it doesn't have to be in public health. It doesn't have to be in science. Anywhere in life, even in politics, everything rises and falls on that relationship and how you're able to manage those things. It does not mean that you shouldn't be sound. No, you should be. But I also see that sometimes the people who are very sound, first class, whatever, or best graduating, when you look at their lives down the line and compare them with other people who were average but knew how to manage relationship and networking, you find out that the difference is clear. Is it because that the other guys, the guy who had first class has not done well? No, they have, but they haven't spent time to manage their relationship. So it's every aspect of life, I think.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that is why at times when we look back, like you said, we realize that the people that may not be brainy end up becoming also leaders. I mean, leading the general majority of people, because they may also be excellent in people management, but not excellent in cerebral management. Permit me to use that. Okay, thank you very much. So, Justin, I want to ask you, someone sent in a question. Hi, thank you very much for this session. My question, how do you build up on your first grant award to apply for subsequent ones? I was honored to be awarded the RSHTM grant for 2025. How do I practically use this as a basis for my second and future grants? Also, how do you manage grant funds if they get affected or depreciated by exchange rate fluctuation? Justin, over to you.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations for winning RSTM 2025. You are now a PI, and as a PI, you have a lot of work in managing the grant and day-to-day activities. So first, let me start with exchange rate, exchange rate changes, exchange rate, and the rest. So first of all, there for RSTMH, we have the grant managers. So if any of the budget line is affected during your implementation, um, sometimes we also have leverages where some budget line you may have added more than one particular grant line. So what you just need to do is to write a mail to the grant manager and then declare that there is access in one grant line, and then there is deficiency in one particular line, and then they will just give you that permission to manage those areas. So it's but the only thing is that you just need to communicate to them per every point that this is what is happening, there is depreciation in exchange rate, and this happen, and this, so you now be able to make it up. But for RSMTA, they cannot increase the grant beyond what you have. So you will still have to manage whatever you have, irrespective of the decline, to do your job. Then, like I said earlier, in terms of how do you leverage on this or build on this to get the second grant, having this already is already have set you up for the second one. So what I did do is that when you are writing for your second grant, you already have a skeleton. The only thing you are changing is probably objective or tailoring your grant to what the second funder want. For instance, especially if it is in one, that is if it is in one place. For instance, when I was writing on when what I wrote on RSTMH grant was on AMR. So now that same skeleton is what I moved into IFCC grant. Now, my whole introduction is almost the same. The only thing is that my objective is different. So because the challenge of the burden of AMR, whatever I will write on background on AMR is almost the same. So what changes is now the objective or the aim, and the other objectives of the grant may change. The method may also change. So now you have a skeleton, you just plug in into the objective to add it to complete the background. This towards the end where you will say this is what we look at, this new grant is looking out to solve, and then how you want to solve it. So then objective now will now be based on the new grant. So the grant you have now have already provided you with the skeleton. So but it becomes challenging when you want to change from what I don't know what is your topic now. So for instance, if you are working on AMR and then your next grant you want to write on HIV, it becomes the consistency is no longer there. And sometimes it becomes even difficult to win more grant because you are changing at every point. In short, that one thing I have noticed is that the Western world, their system makes them more consistent in doing something, and then that's why they easily get things when they apply. For instance, if I'm applying for PhD here, and somebody is applying for PhD in UK, and then I'm applying from here, and I want to work on AMR, and the person want to AMR, the person may have all his life. The training I have here cannot allow me to work on only AMR. In short, sometimes I become so much afraid of the divergence of what I do. I work on dengue. So sometimes I go to conferences, I present on dengue. The next time you are seeing me presenting on menkopos. The next time you are seeing me presenting on AMR. The next time you are seeing me presenting on HIV. So sometimes I'm afraid of myself because people now be like, what exactly do? Because he almost does everything. Because where I work, you can't say you are tailored to do one thing, but most of those guys are more consistent in doing one particular thing. They are known for that one thing. So that is how grant is. You should be known for one thing. So if you are continuing on what you have won, you are building up on the current grant you have won, then it becomes easier. But you will now need new architecture of grants and then writing from the beginning if you are deviating to something else. So I don't know. This is just a little I can provide now. Thank you and over.
Okay, thank you very much for that visit presentation. So, I'm going to ask us, so this is an open question. Any of you can answer as we get ready to wrap up. So generally, what advice will you give to someone who is just started up in medicine that has interest in research? So maybe Prince Will, you can start, and then uh, Justin, you can add on if there are any more add-on to it. Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. If you're just starting up, it's good to encourage you. At least it's one thing to want to start, but I would say you not to end in just trying to start. Most times there are so many desires in our hearts that at the end, when we count the cost, we don't progress, particularly if the environment is not very supportive or yeah, supportive. So if you're just starting, I think things are a bit easier now because you can network, you can see people who are doing things, you have uh, availability of more resources, you can do courses that were not available before, you can have access to more library resources, you have access to AI and a lot of things that can really support you. But the thing is to look around you and check your interest. You would usually will find people who have done one or two in that space. Start with that. Go around them, study what they have done, see where you can start. And sometimes it's better to start little by little instead of trying to, if you haven't applied for a grant before, you don't have to now want to win a grant of so many thousands, or so you can start with maybe a few hundred quid, or I mean small grants where you can, or you can even affiliate yourself to a group that is already performing. At the first instance, if you are just acknowledged, then that's fine. If you're not, keep working with them. From time to time, you will find yourself entering into the group or the research group, and you begin to find them giving you work, giving you assignments that would help you develop. So it's a long way, but if you hang in there, you find a difference. So it's a great thing. Look around you and see if there are people who are in that space. Work with them, hang on. You face challenges, you face successes, but the challenges might be more, but keep on. And again, if for instance, where you are interested in, nobody has been there, it doesn't also mean that you cannot break through or shatter the ceilings. But the thing is that just keep on working hard. If nobody is there to mentor you, keep training yourself, keep working hard. It's sometimes it's trial and error. You get to where you want to get to. Thank you.
Okay, Justin.
Yes, sir. So, just to add from what Dr. Prince said, um, yes, that first initial may be difficult, but you have to keep the only way to learn is doing. So you keep them. Sometimes your first one may not be successful. I, because okay, my RSM grant was actually the first personal grant I applied, even though in the organization I've been writing grant that is for organization, but that was my first. I wrote. I was successful. So sure, yeah, first grant and I won. But if I tell you a lot of other things, I have failed, rejected many times. So that was a year I application of over 50, not even one thing returned. In different, it may not be grant only. So you shouldn't don't be discouraged when it seems that you are not making any progress in any way. So that is more reason why you should put more effort. And like Dr. Prince has said, look for mentors. People starting now have more advantage than when our guard them started. They were practically doing everything on their own. I was not there, nothing, no network, no social media. But now anybody starting may not experience that because one, there is AI, and I'm not saying that you should allow AI generate work for you. Use it to refine what you do, so that just use it to refine what you do. But you have advantage of network. If you go to LinkedIn, Twitter, and different places, you have all the nothing you are looking for that you can't see somewhere. So look for people who join them. The more. I tell my wife once that what I've learned now is anytime I apply for something and I get rejection later, I look for another thing to apply to replace the rejection one. I keep doing it because you won't relent. You won't say this thing is not working. If you do that, then you will never break through. Thank you and over.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I want to appreciate each one of the panelists for the great time and the great chat we've had this evening. I must say that a journey of 1,000 miles usually starts with one step. Never has he ever started with 100 feet jump. It's always that one step. So we just want to encourage each one of you. We know the journey is still long, but the main thing is to start. An ocean usually starts with a drop of water. So just take the first steps and be consistent. Number two, whatever you're looking for in Shokoto can actually be in faraway Shokoto, can actually be in Sokoto. So start from your environment. One thing I have found out is irrespective of any place you go to, there is someone that isn't going in the path of the direction you want to go. And the person may have made one step forward. So all you need to do is at least follow the person and make the one step forward, and then look for the person that will help you make the one leap forward. Okay? So, but don't just feel that whatever you want to do, that you are the first person to do it. No, there's nothing like that. Okay, so that is our great stories to each one of you. And then make yourself a pair of hands, a good pair of hands. Serve others, and you'll be surprised that in serving, great doors of opportunities will come your way. So having said that, I want to ask each one of the panelists to give us one word of closing, generally anything that comes to your mind. And then I want to also employ everyone that is on this call, if you don't mind, please, can you help us fill the evaluation form? That helps us to better serve you in the future, and also maybe in terms of addressing some other concerns you may have. And then, of course, keep your diet on this channel, because in the coming weeks, would also have other things to do, which we'll, of course, advertise. So over to each of the panelists. So Prince, you're on my screen. So maybe we start with you in closing, your closing remark or your closing word to everyone.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, Dr. Gunnar, and to everyone, every colleague here who has joined. I'm on LinkedIn. Let's connect, and I'm in other places. Let's connect. So let's make this. Let's start these things we've discussed practically. You might be the next line to the next level I'm going to. I might be the next line to where you're going to. So let's connect. It's Carl Udu, and I'm on YouTube as well, everywhere. So let's make our networking stronger. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Justin, over.
Yeah, so thank you, sir, for the opportunity. And my part is don't wait, start now to do. And as well, I'm very active in LinkedIn and other social media. So connect. If you have any challenge, you can hand over.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And I want to thank the panelists. I know how busy you are. Thank you for taking out this time to share your wealth of experience with everyone here. We're very, very grateful for, for that. And then we want to thank the audience. Thank you so much for staying on with us. We also value your time. And like we said from the beginning, and we keep on saying, just keep on. You may never say, but the next one will actually be yours for us to celebrate. Thank you, everyone, and do have a good night's rest until next time when we see again. Bye-bye, and God
Thank you
bless.
very much. Bye.
Bye, everyone.